Hello and welcome everyone. You know, every day is a special day here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, but today stands as, one of those kind of peak moments of just when we can get excited about a lot of things here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. First of all, today we are very, very excited and elated to welcome another member of our Wild at Heart family, another Kimba, that is, too. Kimba the Lynx. You can see her pictured right here. And we're going to be talking about Kimba. And as well, the second news to get excited about that is just oh so special is that your donations for cats like Kimba and all of the rescues that you know and love here at the Wildcat Sanctuary are 1, 2, 3, tripled. I should have Caretaker Elyse help me with that chant here. But welcome everyone. We are so excited to be celebrating a new rescued resident, Kimba, the Eurasian Lynx, a 2-year-old Eurasian Lynx who came to the Wildcat Sanctuary a few weeks ago. I have Caretaker Elyse here. We're going to be talking about Kimba's rescue and what Elyse and the team did on the ground to get Kimba safe to Sanctuary. And of course, kind of rolling in triple donations and miracle match, and how your matching gifts, when they're now going 1, 2, 3 times as far, are just a very exciting and important thing to be happening in the remaining days of Miracle Match from now until April 30th. So just as Lois A is pointing out, welcome beautiful Kimba. That's exactly what we're going to do on today's live post. Before we get talking to Elyse, obviously with all of our new rescued residents, some of them have their shells, and we're okay if they want to hang out in their shells. And Miss Kimba, we know that if you read our e-newsletter or perhaps the Facebook post introducing Kimba, she just had her space surgery the other week. And so Kimba is, not only we're wanting to give her space so she can remain, just keep getting comfortable with the pace of sanctuary life, but we also want to make sure that she's going to be comfortable while she's recovering from that space surgery. So glad that we get to do a little kind of remote hanging out with our new rescued resident today, Elyse, and talk a little bit about the rescue and kind of hear some behind the scenes and some professional input from what it's like rescuing a cat. So Elyse, it was the other week that we were called to rescue Kimba, and Kimba was being surrendered to us by a private owner from Colorado. And so when we hear something like a private owner, that, kind of means that there's situations that they're not, basically what I'm trying to say, things aren't going to be as predictable as a situation at the Wildcat Sanctuary where, let's say we're doing a cat move, which is pretty typical for us. We have crates that when we need them. We have panels to secure doors, extra locks, extra clips. So I guess what I'm driving at, you're coming into a rescue situation like Kimba. Kimba was free roaming a home, so she's in a home environment, just free roaming around. So as a rescuer, how do you navigate that situation and determine kind of the safest path to get Kimba safe to Sanctuary?
Those are all good questions. Definitely when you're going, something that's going through your mind on that long drive, because you are kind of going into a situation, like you said, here, we know our habitats, we know our spaces, we know the cats. That's a big one too. So a lot of times when you're going on these, you have to think about what kind of home environment is it? What type of house? Like how many rooms are there? Where does the cat find it safe there? Like most of the time, once you get there, you want to go in first and kind of see where they're kind of hanging out and where they prefer to. Are you able to get them into one room where it might be, it's safer, it's one space so that they can't go up or around? But if you go to a home that has an open floor plan, which was kind of like where Kimba was, then that's a whole different situation.
Well, and I'm actually going to interrupt you, Elyse, because we're actually going to do kind of a little bit of a play-by-play. I just want to show a short clip. And just as you heard kind of Elyse talking here, she's talking about walking into a home environment. And just as you would expect, these are unpredictable situations. And so right now, we're going to watch this along with Elyse. This is a segment of a video, a longer video that was featured in the e-newsletter that you would have been able to see in full. But I kind of want to turn over with Elyse and kind of just describe to me just what you were saying of you're walking in and you're completely observing and making these kind of mental calculations on what's going to be happening here. So I'm going to press play.
So if she starts to do that, I'm just going to test her and see about where she goes.
And so I just heard you talking to the owner, Elyse. You kind of mentioned that you're gonna walk in and test something, or what was that?
So as he's, kind of, they're too, so I want to make sure that everybody knows kind of what we're doing. It's no surprises.
Mm-hmm.
And I just walking in, you can see now we have the equipment. So
Yep, exactly.
we've actually already came in a little earlier just to see everything, because you don't want to bring in this equipment that could be kind of startling to them. It's, you know, what are you doing with that? So what I'm doing is just going into the room there, letting her see that I'm coming in with items that she's never seen before, and gauging the response, because we need to know whether she is fight or flight. It's gonna develop because she doesn't know us or what to expect. So what we're doing here is just gauging. Is she gonna hunker down? Is she going to run? Is she gonna try and get into a safe space? They could go up on things, they could go into something. So this here is just a very slow approach into the room. Give her a moment to see and gauge where she's gonna wanna go before you do any kind of approach. You wanna make sure you can kind of anticipate somewhat where they're gonna go or what they're gonna do, because again, this is a completely open environment. We want it to be as safe as possible with the minimal that we can control in a big space like that.
Yeah, exactly. And so now that we're going to kind of commence the clip here, we will see Kimba here in a moment. And kind of from there, Elyse, I'm going to ask you to just to describe basically what we're seeing, and then as a rescuer, what's going through your mind? What variables are you looking? You're going to be sedating this cat to be able to get into a crate. So I'm going to have you expand on that in just a moment.
It's okay, Kimba. Relax.
You can see Caretaker Rio. There's Elyse leading the front there. And again, this video is featured on our e-newsletter that you'll be able to watch it in full. You can see Kimba on the kitchen counter. I can just pause it right there. And so that, you know, if there's anything like rescuing in a home environment, I think that what we're seeing right here in this frame is about the most quintessential example of that. I mean, it's a wild animal on a kitchen counter. And so, you know, Elyse, you are going to be, and more so I should say, is that the owner had reported to us that he had not been able to get Kimba into a crate. Which means that we would have to sedate Kimba to get her into a crate. So you're walking into the situation and now you're thinking, okay, how are we going to safely sedate this cat?
Right. And if you saw kind of me, Rio, it's Bobby who's actually behind the camera there. I gave direction as a team. We talked so that we would move in stages, so that we would work as a team. I went in first, and then if you saw Rio then kind of came and followed my path. So communication's really big too, being in this part here, and then kind of like you said, being in this home environment. Now you can see there's windows, there's all sorts of items. Is she in a good spot to try and give that hope? Because as you said, Kimba had an aversion to crates. So we didn't want to bring that in and stress her out, because that can amp up the level. So right now we're kind of gauging, looking where if she's going to stay there or if she wants to go somewhere. And one of the things too is with all these windows, before you want to do any of this, make sure they're shut. Things like that. I mean, if they get scared or they jump, a screen is not going to stop a Eurasian Lynx. So one of those things too is when you go in is making sure that everything is secure, so that if they try to run, that window doesn't look like an escape. So that's one of the things kind of going through your head too. And then this part here is we also don't want to make her feel cornered right away, because if you kind of come up on them, I mean, cats are very agile. She could go up the wall, she could try jumping over at us, she could jump at us. So right here, we're giving her a little bit of an option to go left or right, but we're still blocking the main exit to the rest of the house. So we're trying to create that this room is where we'll, you know, try, and she's got space to slightly move from us to hopefully keep down that fight response. They felt cornered. So she's really a big cat, you know, she's a
very much.
Lynx, and for us, we consider that what we call on the red cat scale. She can, she stands quite tall and very powerful, even though that they're smaller cats. So we're giving her the option to, you know, maybe move away from us and not come at us. So that's another thing.
So it really sounds like a combination of juggling the safety. Obviously, there's humans involved. There's a powerful wildcat like you just described. And then obviously kind of balancing the well-being of a cat like Kimba. You mentioned, rightfully so, she's probably pretty scared of seeing these strangers in her home, and she's having a big transition happening. So it really is insightful for us to hear, and that is what we're kind of doing today. And I'll reiterate and welcome everyone to our live post. I have Caretaker Elyse here, one of the first respond rescuers for Kimba here. We're talking about her rescue. We're celebrating triple donations and really just kind of talking about what it is like rescuing on site and getting a cat safe to sanctuary. And Elyse has been describing in detail a professional like her, a caretaker, what she's thinking about and what are going to be the little and big things that she's paying attention to get her cat like Kimba safe to sanctuary. And that's exactly the thing, is you've been describing, we're not at the sanctuary. We don't have an extra crate. We don't have an extra piece of fence panel if we need it. Or, and obviously, and I shouldn't undercut what you have on your rescue and emergency kit. Obviously, you guys are prepared with nets and you have shields and things like that with you. But then you just talking about the variables around the house. And so that's very kind of helpful and just paints a picture as to not only that type of experts that our team is, but just what it takes to execute a home rescue and then getting Kimba back here safe to sanctuary. Yeah. And so kind of from here, Elyse, you guys were able to, kind of just like we've been talking about, analyze the situation. You were able to secure windows, find a good spot to get her poked and then crate her. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. After she went to sleep, then of course we were able to take her to the crate and put her in.
Awesome. So, yeah. And she did well during transport?
She did. She was, after she woke up, she was a little nervous. She didn't know where she was. And of course, the car had a lot of sounds, if you bump on things like that. So at first she was a little nervous. But then after, things, she kind of woke up and then she did eat a little bit of the food that we provided her and things like that. Then she kind of calmed down and she was getting a little curious as to what we're doing. We could see that she was kind of like, hey, just, stay over there. And I'm in, this is my seat. Kind of thing, checking on her, but also being respectful of, you were saying too. This is a huge change. She doesn't know where she's going. This is a big change for her. She's not sure of us. We just came into the place that she knew growing up since she was a kitten. So that can be a lot hard on them. And
very much so.
Of it, to not amp them up either.
Very much so. And I think kind of knowing that side of the equation, that's where it's upon us here at the Wildcat Sanctuary to set Kimba up, the best way we can for a transition like this. Is kind of how she's been doing and what are some of the things that we've been doing to get Kimba comfortable to sanctuary life.
Well, first is when she came, we had her room all set up and she had her crate and we tried to have some stuff from her that was on the rescue that may have smelled a little bit like her. This is huge. There's so many different smells.
Yeah.
Now she's in a room and it can be a little hard to replicate the home environment there, but it was smaller. We gave her a TV right away because there was a radio that seemed to play in the house. So we actually gave her that and we played dogs because there were dogs on the property that she was very used to and knew. So we actually played some dog videos and things hoping that maybe the sound would help her ease in a little bit. It took her a little bit, but she came out of the crate very calmly. She didn't run out and she was nervous and she kind of found a spot where she was like, oh, we'll be here. So then after that, it was, giving her the space, but also making sure that we didn't completely just leave her alone either because she was used to the presence. But doing that slowly in stages, giving her her favorite food to start. And did bring some Kiara fur over.
Yeah.
Smell like dogs, because she was very used to it. There was a lot of dogs on the property. So we brought that, and that seemed a little bit like, she liked that. She was like, oh, I know this smell. I know that. And she was rubbing on it and stuff like that. So that was kind of a good, a little bit of a, hey, there's things you've been
exactly
used to.
Things that are going to help her acclimate and I think that this is special for me to obviously, and I think for everyone to hear of what it is going to take to get a cat like I was about to say Kiara, Kimba comfortable, and it's a big transition for her. So that's cool to hear that maybe she was a dog lover, so we've been giving her some exposure to dogs. Maybe the dog fur. I know that Tammy and Kiara have done some walking past Kimba's habitat in quarantine, and then it would have been last week that Kimba had her spay surgery, and everything went excellent for that. Exactly.
Yeah.
And how much did Kimba weigh?
I have to remember, I think she was 27.
I was going to say, no, she was in the 20s. Okay.
27, 28.
So you had her spay surgery. She had some vaccines, blood work, kind of standard intake exam stuff.
Yep. All the, like I said, just the standard stuff. She was a healthy girl. So.
Awesome. And we love seeing that. And certainly Kimba as a new rescue, Elyse, I guess this is my side of the equation. I love urging everyone that, certainly there is tons of different ways to support Kimba in her wild at heart journey. But as we welcome a cat on their first day here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, or I should say, first day publicly announcing Kimba, one of the best ways that you can do, or best things you can do for her, is sponsor Kimba. And that sponsorship is going 1, 2, 3 times as far. Yeah. That sponsorship going 3 times as far for a cat like Kimba, and she's going to be one of those rescues where we look at her previous life versus her now life at Sanctuary, and one where we're really going to be able to feel proud of what we've been able to do for a cat like Kimba, and feel proud about what we're able to do for captive wildcats at large here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Elyse, this has been a really awesome, and as I say, I always think it's so insightful, and I hope the folks get as excited about I do when I get to hear just right from you about what you're experiencing, what your professional mindset is when you're on a rescue like this, in a home, rescuing a Eurasian lynx. When 100 things could go wrong, and we know that you have the cat's well-being top of mind. We know that you have human safety top of mind, and I just think it's so informative for all of us to hear that right from the horse's mouth, the tiger's mouth, maybe I'll say that.
So hope it's educational.
Yeah.
It is a good behind the scenes. I know we don't always kind of have a talk about like that kind of stuff. It's a lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts, and
it can be very stressful, but maintaining composure and stuff.
Exactly.
I joked with them that I needed my morning coffee before I went.
I would hope, Elyse, I would expedite mail you some caffeine to Colorado if you didn't have it before rescue. So. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. I want to thank you, Elyse, for taking time out of your busy caretaking day. I appreciate everyone's patience that we're giving Kimba her space. She's recovering from her space surgery. She's still coming out of her shell, but I can definitely see that Kimba is going to blossom into a beautiful, beautiful cat here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. So stay close to our page. We're going to be talking more about Kimba. We're going to be highlighting how you can have 3 times the impact on Kimba when your sponsorship is going 3 times as far, or any gift given on this post would be going 3 times as far. And here's to new beginnings, and here's to all that you make possible for rescues like Kimba. Thank you, everyone.